The Habits That Turn Ordinary People to Millionaires, written and published by Imperium Audiobooks. Most people believe millionaires are born lucky, gifted with genius, or handed opportunities the rest of us will never see. But the truth is far more encouraging. The majority of self-made millionaires didn't start with privilege. They weren't born into wealth, nor did they have secret connections waiting to hand them success. They started where most of us start: ordinary circumstances, ordinary paychecks, ordinary struggles. What set them apart were not miracles or shortcuts, but habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of success. They shape what you do, how you think, and ultimately, what you become. A single habit practiced daily may feel small, but over months and years it compounds into massive results. Millionaires don't rely on motivation or luck. They rely on routines, disciplines, and mental frameworks that quietly but powerfully guide them toward wealth. Think of it this way: wealth is not a lottery ticket, it's a system, and systems are built on habits. You already have habits right now: how you spend your mornings, how you react to setbacks, how you handle money, how you use your time. The difference between staying ordinary and becoming extraordinary lies in which habits you choose, and whether they serve your future or sabotage it. This audiobook is about pulling back the curtain on those millionaire-making habits, the simple, repeatable behaviors that turn ordinary people into high achievers, and high achievers into millionaires. You'll discover how millionaires think about money differently, why they guard their time so fiercely, how they cultivate discipline, and the mindset shifts that keep them moving forward when everyone else gives up. And here's my promise to you: by the end of this audiobook, you won't just know the habits of millionaires, you'll be ready to practice them. You'll see clearly how ordinary actions repeated with consistency can transform your entire financial destiny. You'll realize that building wealth is not about working harder, but about working smarter, building better routines, and committing to the kind of habits that compound into fortune. So settle in. What you're about to hear is not theory or empty inspiration, it's a roadmap. If you follow the path, if you commit to the habits, your life will not remain the same. This is where the transformation begins. Chapter 1. The Power of Habit Over Hustle. When most people think of millionaires, they imagine long hours of relentless hustle, nights without sleep, and an endless grind that chews up energy until the reward finally arrives. And while it's true that effort matters, it's also true that many people work brutally hard all their lives and never taste wealth. Why? Because hustle without direction, without structure, without the right habits, is like rowing a boat furiously while going in circles. Millionaires understand a principle that most people ignore. It is not the sheer force of effort that makes the difference. It is the repeated patterns of behavior, the habits that once set in motion multiply results over time. Hustle may get you started, but habit keeps you going when your motivation is gone. Think about your own life right now. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, you're following habits, whether you're conscious of them or not. Do you hit snooze 5 times before rolling out of bed, or do you rise on the first alarm? Do you immediately reach for your phone to scroll through distractions, or do you take a moment to center your mind? Do you spend evenings watching television, or do you invest that time in reading, planning, or building a skill? These are not small decisions. They are the bricks from which your entire future is built. Millionaires are not superhuman. They've simply trained themselves to build the right routines and stick with them long enough for the compound effect to work in their favor. The compound effect is simple yet powerful. Tiny, consistent actions, multiplied over months and years, create outcomes so massive they appear impossible to outsiders. Let's use money as an example. If you saved just $10 a day and invested it with average returns, you might not notice much change in a month, or even a year. But after 10 years, that habit alone could grow into tens of thousands of dollars. After 20 years, hundreds of thousands. Extend that habit into 30 or 40 years, and you could cross into millionaire territory all from a single consistent habit most people dismiss as too small to matter. That is the power of habit over hustle. But money habits are only one side of the story. High performers who become millionaires also apply this principle to time, energy, and focus. They are ruthless about protecting their mornings because they know the first hours of the day often set the tone for everything that follows. They cultivate habits like reading daily, setting clear goals, reviewing progress, exercising to maintain energy, and avoiding the toxic influences that drain productivity. To outsiders, these routines may seem strict or even boring. To millionaires, they are freedom, because freedom is built on discipline. Now, here's the truth. Most people don't want to admit your current habits are perfectly designed to give you the results you have right now. If you are stuck financially, if you feel drained of energy, if you can't seem to break through to the next level, it's not because you lack talent, it's because your daily patterns are keeping you where you are. The good news: change the patterns, and you change the outcome. This is why I say habit beats hustle. Hustle burns bright for a season, but it fades. Habit, once installed, runs on autopilot. It doesn't require you to feel motivated. It doesn't demand that you psych yourself up every morning. It simply guides your behavior naturally, like a river flowing in the same direction every single day. The question is not whether you have habits, you already do. The question is whether your habits are working for you or against you. Think of some of the wealthiest people in history. Many of them credit their fortunes not to luck or genius, but to simple disciplines repeated over time. Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful investors, spends hours reading every single day. Not glamorous, not flashy, just consistent reading and analysis. Elon Musk built multiple billion-dollar companies, not by chasing distractions but by relentlessly focusing on engineering, problem-solving, and execution. Even athletes like LeBron James or Serena Williams, who may not fit the typical millionaire entrepreneur mold, owe their success not only to talent, but to daily training routines so disciplined that skipping them would feel unnatural. Millionaires also understand the importance of removing destructive habits. Success is not only about adding new behaviors, it is also about subtracting the ones that keep you stuck. Scrolling endlessly through social media, surrounding yourself with negative people, procrastinating on important tasks, these habits quietly destroy more dreams than lack of opportunity ever could. So here is your challenge before you go any further in this journey. Take an honest look at your current daily routines. Write them down if you need to. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, where does your time actually go? Which habits are moving you forward, and which are silently holding you back? Because the truth is simple: if your habits don't change, your results won't either. The journey to becoming a millionaire starts not with a windfall, not with a lucky break, but with an honest audit of your habits. This first step may seem ordinary, but it is the foundation for everything that comes next. You must understand that your habits are either building your future wealth or silently stealing it. Millionaires choose their habits carefully. Ordinary people often don't. That's the dividing line. As we continue, you'll discover the exact habits that separate ordinary from extraordinary. Some will be practical financial habits. Others will be mental habits, ways of thinking and making decisions. But before we explore them, remember this: your life is a reflection of your habits. Change your habits, and you will, without question, change your life. Chapter 2. Thinking like a millionaire before you become one. Before a single dollar shows up in your bank account, wealth begins in your mind. This is not a motivational slogan. It's a law of human behavior. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act produces the results you live with. Millionaires aren't simply people with bigger bank balances. They are people who think in ways that naturally generate wealth. Their thoughts guide them toward decisions and opportunities that others miss. The average person looks at money as something to be earned and then spent. Work hard, get paid, enjoy life, until the money runs out, and then repeat the cycle. Millionaires see money differently. To them, money is a tool, not a toy. It's a worker, not a prize. Instead of asking, "How can I spend this paycheck?" they ask, "How can I put this money to work for me?" This simple but powerful shift in thinking separates those who stay stuck from those who build lasting wealth. Consider this: two people earn the same salary. The first spends nearly everything, upgrading phones, buying clothes, eating out, entertaining themselves, believing money's purpose is to be enjoyed immediately. The second lives with discipline, saving and investing a portion of each paycheck, training themselves to think long-term. 10 years later, the first person wonders why wealth feels impossible, while the second is quietly approaching financial freedom. Same income, different thinking, entirely different destiny. Millionaires also think differently about opportunity. Most people see risk. Millionaires see potential. Ordinary thinkers say, "What if it fails?" Millionaire thinkers say, "What if it succeeds?" This doesn't mean they are reckless. In fact, most successful millionaires are careful and deliberate, but they are willing to explore opportunities instead of immediately dismissing them. They condition their minds to look for solutions rather than excuses. Take the story of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She didn't have a fashion background, investors, or experience in the hosiery industry. What she had was an idea, and the mindset that told her, "Why not me?" While others laughed at her concept, she saw possibility. She trained her brain to believe in solutions, not problems. That mindset, more than money or connections, turned her into the youngest self-made female billionaire in America. Here's another crucial shift. Millionaires don't see failure as the end. They see it as data. When the average person fails, they feel embarrassed, ashamed, or convinced they're not good enough. Millionaires see failure as feedback. Every setback is an education. Every mistake is a lesson pointing them closer to the right path. They don't get stuck in the emotional sting of failure because they understand its role in growth. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his endless failures, he famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's millionaire thinking. Failure is not an obstacle, but a stepping stone. Another way millionaires think differently is in how they view time. To most people, time feels abundant. They treat it casually, wasting hours on distractions, convinced there's always more time tomorrow. Millionaires treat time as their most valuable asset. They guard it, prioritize it, and invest it carefully. They ask, "Is this activity bringing me closer to my vision?" If the answer is no, they either eliminate it or delegate it. This mindset shift from treating time as infinite to treating it as precious creates a discipline that accelerates their results. Now let's talk about identity. Millionaires think of themselves not just in terms of what they do, but who they are becoming. They align their habits with the identity they want to create. For instance, someone who wants to be wealthy doesn't just force themselves to save money. They begin to see themselves as an investor. Someone who wants to be fit doesn't just diet for a month. They begin to see themselves as an athlete. Identity-based thinking is powerful because it goes deeper than willpower. It transforms your self-image. Millionaires use this habit to lock in their success. It's also worth noting that millionaire thinking is not limited to money. They cultivate gratitude, optimism, and resilience. Gratitude keeps them grounded, preventing greed from destroying their perspective. Optimism keeps them moving forward when the path is uncertain. Resilience helps them bounce back after setbacks. These are not fluffy qualities. They are survival tools in the world of success. Without them, the stress, challenges, and constant pressures of growth would break most people. So how can you start thinking like a millionaire before you become one? Begin by auditing your thoughts. Pay attention to your daily mental patterns. Do you constantly say, "I can't afford that"? Replace it with, "How can I afford that?" Do you often think, "I'll never succeed"? Replace it with, "What do I need to learn to succeed?" Language shapes thought, and thought shapes destiny. Next, adopt the habit of asking better questions. Millionaires don't ask small questions. They ask expansive ones. Instead of "How do I survive this month?" they ask, "How can I create wealth that lasts generations?" Instead of "How can I get through today?" they ask, "What habits will build the future I want?" Your brain is a problem-solving machine. The quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you give it. Finally, commit to lifelong learning. Millionaires are obsessed with growth. They read, attend seminars, hire mentors, and surround themselves with thinkers who challenge them. They know their mind is their most powerful asset, and they feed it relentlessly. This mindset habit ensures they never plateau. They keep expanding, adapting, and improving long after others stop. Here's the truth. Before you ever hold $1 million in your hands, you must hold millionaire thinking in your mind. Wealth flows to those who think differently, act differently, and persist differently. Change your thoughts, and you change your future. Millionaire status doesn't begin in the bank. It begins in the brain. Chapter 3. Money Mastery and Wealth Building Behaviors. If you want to understand millionaires, don't just study how they earn. Study how they keep and grow what they earn. Too many people think wealth is simply about making more money. But history shows us countless examples of high earners who went broke. Lottery winners, professional athletes, and even celebrities often crash financially because they never built the habits to manage, protect, and multiply their wealth. On the other hand, ordinary people with modest incomes have become millionaires by developing the right relationship with money and cultivating wealth-building behaviors. Here's the truth. Money will not change your habits. It will amplify them. If you're careless with $1,000, you'll be reckless with $100,000. If you can't manage $5,000, you'll be overwhelmed with $500,000. Millionaires don't wait to be rich before learning discipline. They practice disciplined money habits long before wealth arrives. One of the first habits millionaires embrace is paying themselves first. While most people earn money and immediately spend it on bills, luxuries, and entertainment, millionaires reverse the process. They save and invest a portion of their income the moment it arrives, then live on what remains. This single shift transforms your financial destiny. It forces you to prioritize wealth building over consumption. Even if you start with just 10% of your income, the act of consistently paying yourself first builds a foundation for financial independence. But saving alone is not enough. Millionaires know inflation eats away at idle money, so they master the art of investing. They don't blindly chase trends. They focus on proven vehicles, stocks, businesses, real estate, or other assets that grow over time. Think of Warren Buffett again. His genius is not timing the market but buying strong assets and holding them for decades. Millionaires practice patience while the average person seeks quick wins. They understand that wealth compounds slowly and then suddenly. Another key habit is avoiding lifestyle creep. Ordinary people often increase their spending as soon as their income rises. A raise leads to a new car, a bigger house, or endless gadgets. Millionaires resist this trap. Instead of inflating their lifestyle with every pay bump, they reinvest the difference into assets. That's why many self-made millionaires live below their means, even when they no longer need to. This discipline allows their wealth to snowball while others remain trapped in an endless cycle of earn and spend. Now let's go beyond personal money habits and into wealth-building behaviors. Millionaires rarely depend on a single stream of income. They cultivate multiple streams: investments, businesses, royalties, or side ventures. The average person relies on one paycheck, which makes them vulnerable. If that paycheck disappears, so does their livelihood. Millionaires spread their risk and expand their opportunities. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, explains it best. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. This mindset leads to behaviors that generate income whether they are actively working or not. Networking is another millionaire behavior. While ordinary people see relationships as social, millionaires see them as strategic. They build circles of influence, surrounding themselves with ambitious, forward-thinking individuals who challenge them to grow. They know that opportunities rarely come from strangers. They come from networks of trust and mutual value. This is why millionaires invest time in relationships, mentorship, and masterminds. They view people as assets, not transactions. Let's not forget the millionaire habit of calculated risk-taking. Ordinary thinkers often avoid risk entirely, clinging to the security of a paycheck. Millionaires, on the other hand, evaluate risks carefully and step into opportunities that others fear. They ask, what's the downside? Can I recover if it fails? What's the upside if it succeeds? By weighing risks logically, instead of emotionally, they position themselves for opportunities that can change their lives. Consider Elon Musk. Love him or not, his willingness to reinvest nearly every dollar he had from the sale of PayPal into Tesla and SpaceX is a prime example of calculated risk. He could have lived comfortably for the rest of his life, but his wealth today is a direct result of bold financial decisions most people would never dare to make. That mindset and behavior, calculated courage, is one of the defining traits of millionaires. Another overlooked behavior is financial education. Millionaires don't blindly hand over their money to others without understanding. They study wealth, taxes, markets, and opportunities. They may hire advisors, but they never delegate full responsibility. They stay informed and educated because they know ignorance is expensive. Ordinary people avoid financial education because it seems intimidating, but millionaires embrace it because they understand its value. And finally, millionaires build legacies, not just bank accounts. They think generationally. While the average person thinks about making it through the month, millionaires think about how their money will impact their children, grandchildren, and even their communities. This mindset shapes their behavior. They establish trusts, businesses, or philanthropic projects that extend far beyond their lifetimes. Wealth for them is not just about personal comfort, it's about creating something enduring. So here's your challenge. Begin practicing these money and wealth-building habits now. Pay yourself first, invest regularly, resist lifestyle creep, and start building multiple income streams. Surround yourself with thinkers who expand your vision. Educate yourself financially, and adopt the courage to take calculated risks. You don't need to wait until you have $1 million in the bank to start thinking and behaving like a millionaire. These habits are available to you today, and if you adopt them consistently, wealth will become the natural byproduct of your behavior. Remember this: ordinary money habits lead to ordinary results. Extraordinary money habits, paired with wealth-building behaviors, lead to freedom, security, and impact. Millionaires are not extraordinary people, they are ordinary people who practice extraordinary financial discipline, and so can you. Chapter 4: Discipline and the Daily Routines of Millionaires. If you study self-made millionaires long enough, you'll notice something striking. Their days don't look accidental. They don't wake up and let life decide for them. They design their days. They run on discipline and routines that keep them aligned with their vision, even when motivation is low and distractions are high. Where ordinary people let each day unfold randomly, millionaires treat their days like building blocks, knowing that stacked consistently, these blocks form the structure of wealth. Discipline is the unglamorous secret behind success. Most people look for hacks, shortcuts, or bursts of inspiration. Millionaires know better. They rely on discipline because they understand motivation is unreliable. Motivation is like the weather. sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, never fully within your control. Discipline, however, is steady. It's the decision to follow through on commitments regardless of feelings. Millionaires build discipline into their routines so their success is not left to chance. Let's start with mornings. Studies have shown that high achievers often rise early. This isn't about torturing yourself with a 4 a.m. alarm, but about reclaiming quiet, focused time before the chaos of the world begins. Many millionaires use mornings for what I call power habits: exercise, reading, meditation, journaling, or planning the day. These habits sharpen the mind, energize the body, and prime the emotions for productivity. By the time most people are just waking up, millionaires have already invested in themselves. Consider Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group. He wakes up around 5 a.m. to exercise and spend time with family before diving into work. He credits this morning discipline as a key driver of his energy and creativity. It's not about the specific hour, it's about starting the day intentionally. After mornings, millionaires design their work routines around priorities, not distractions. Ordinary people start the day reacting: emails, messages, random tasks. Millionaires flip the script. They focus on high-value activities first: creating, strategizing, building. They protect their mornings for deep work, knowing that energy and focus decline as the day progresses. This habit alone, working on what truly matters before anything else, multiplies their output over time. Another powerful routine is the practice of time blocking. Millionaires don't leave their schedules to chance. They assign specific blocks of time to specific activities, from work projects to family time to rest. This habit eliminates decision fatigue and prevents the day from being swallowed by interruptions. Think of Elon Musk, who is known for breaking his days into 5-minute blocks. While you don't need to be that extreme, the principle holds: control your calendar, or it will control you. Discipline also shows up in how millionaires treat their bodies. They understand that health is wealth. Exercise is not optional, it's part of their routine. They eat with intention, rest adequately, and avoid habits that drain energy. They know their physical condition directly impacts their mental clarity, decision-making, and productivity. Where ordinary people sacrifice sleep or health for short-term gains, millionaires protect their energy like an asset, because it is. Let's talk about consistency. Millionaires don't rely on dramatic bursts of effort. They rely on steady, repeatable routines. It's the discipline of showing up daily that creates extraordinary outcomes. Think of athletes, musicians, or business leaders who perform at world-class levels. None of them became great overnight. They became great because they showed up, trained, practiced, refined, and repeated. Small actions, executed daily, compound into mastery. Take Kobe Bryant as an example. He was already one of the best basketball players in the world, yet his discipline in practice was legendary. He would arrive hours before teammates, shooting hundreds of baskets, perfecting his craft. His philosophy was simple: if he practiced more consistently than anyone else, he would separate himself from everyone else. Millionaires in business apply the same principle. Another element of millionaire routines is reflection. At the end of the day, many successful individuals take time to review their progress, note what worked, and adjust what didn't. This habit ensures constant growth. Instead of running on autopilot, they refine their systems daily. Ordinary people rarely stop to reflect, which is why they repeat the same mistakes year after year. Millionaires avoid that trap by reviewing and recalibrating constantly. Discipline also extends to saying no. Millionaires know that every yes costs time and energy. They say no to distractions, to people who drain them, to projects that don't align with their vision. This habit of guarding their focus allows them to direct energy toward what truly matters. Steve Jobs once said, "Focusing is about saying no." Ordinary people fear missing out. Millionaires fear wasting focus. Of course, none of this is easy. Discipline feels uncomfortable at first. routines feel restrictive. But here's the paradox. Structure creates freedom. By disciplining their time, millionaires gain more control over their lives. By committing to routines, they create more space for creativity and opportunity. Freedom is not the absence of structure. It's the result of mastering it. Here's how you can begin installing millionaire routines in your own life. Design your mornings. Choose 2 power habits: exercise, reading, journaling, or meditation, and commit to them before checking your phone. Prioritize your day. Identify the single most important task each morning and tackle it first. Block your time. Assign time slots to meaningful work and protect them from interruptions. Guard your energy. Treat sleep, exercise, and nutrition as non-negotiable. Reflect nightly. End each day with 5 minutes of review. What went well? What can improve tomorrow? These steps may feel small, but over weeks and months they rewire your life. Remember, millionaires are not extraordinary people. They are ordinary people who practice extraordinary discipline. Day after day, they do not stumble into success. They design it through routines. So if you want millionaire results, stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Stop hoping for breakthroughs and start practicing daily consistency. Success is not about doing everything once. It's about doing the right things over and over, until the results become inevitable. Millionaires know this secret. Now you do too. Chapter 5. Resilience. The millionaire response to setbacks. If there is one thing guaranteed on the road to wealth, it's setbacks. No journey to success is a straight line. There are obstacles, failures, disappointments, and moments when everything seems to collapse. Most people interpret these challenges as signs to quit. Millionaires interpret them differently. They see setbacks not as dead ends, but as stepping stones. Their resilience, the ability to recover quickly and continue forward, is one of the defining habits that separates them from the rest. Let's be clear, millionaires are not immune to failure. In fact, they often fail more than most people because they take bigger risks and attempt more ambitious goals. But here's the difference. While ordinary people see failure as final, millionaires see it as feedback. They treat each setback as information, a lesson to be analyzed, adapted, and used to grow stronger. Resilience allows them to transform failure into fuel. Think of Thomas Edison, who famously conducted thousands of experiments before inventing the light bulb. Each attempt that didn't work wasn't a failure to him, it was a discovery of what didn't work. His perspective turned setbacks into progress. This is how resilient thinkers operate. They don't let frustration or embarrassment define them. They redefine failure itself. Resilience also comes from emotional control. When challenges arise, most people panic, blame others, or give in to fear. Millionaires do the opposite. They pause, breathe, and analyze the situation with clarity. Emotional discipline allows them to make rational choices when others are consumed by chaos. They train themselves to stay calm in storms, which gives them a huge advantage. Consider Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest investors of all time. He often says that temperament is more important than intelligence in investing. Markets rise and fall, fortunes are gained and lost, but the people who win are the ones who remain calm and rational in uncertainty. That's resilience in action. Another aspect of resilience is adaptability. Millionaires don't cling stubbornly to failing strategies. They pivot when needed. They embrace change instead of resisting it. In business, in careers, and in life, conditions evolve constantly. Technology shifts, economies fluctuate, and markets move. While ordinary people complain about change, millionaires look for opportunity inside it. Their resilience allows them to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing direction. Think of Jeff Bezos and Amazon. The company began as an online bookstore, but Bezos quickly adapted, expanding into electronics, cloud computing, and countless other industries. Had he resisted change, Amazon would have remained small. His resilience wasn't just about surviving challenges, it was about leveraging them into breakthroughs. Resilience also requires persistence. Millionaires don't give up after the first setback, or the 10th. They understand that most people quit too soon. The habit of pressing forward when others give up creates a natural filter. Those who endure long enough inevitably rise above the competition. The world rewards persistence because very few are willing to keep going when the road gets hard. But persistence isn't blind stubbornness. Millionaires combine persistence with strategy. They ask, what can I learn from this setback? How can I adjust? What needs to change? Their persistence is intelligent, flexible, and grounded in growth. This habit transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Resilience also comes from self-belief. Ordinary people let failure crush their confidence. Millionaires maintain faith in themselves, even when results are poor. This is not arrogance, it's conviction. They trust that effort, learning, and time will eventually deliver results. They know setbacks are temporary, but their vision is permanent. This mindset keeps them moving forward when others abandon the path. Think of Oprah Winfrey. Early in her career, she was told she wasn't fit for television. Instead of quitting, she built resilience, refined her craft, and went on to become one of the most influential figures in media. Her setbacks didn't define her, her response did. So how can you develop resilience like a millionaire? Reframe failure. See it as feedback, not finality. Every setback is a teacher. Control your emotions. Train yourself to stay calm and rational under pressure. Adapt quickly. If something isn't working, pivot. Be flexible without losing focus. Persist intelligently. Don't give up too soon, but don't repeat the same mistakes. Learn, refine, and press forward. Strengthen self-belief. Remind yourself that setbacks are temporary. Your vision is bigger than the obstacles. Building resilience is not easy. It requires a mindset shift. It requires seeing challenges differently than most people do. But once you build this habit, you become unstoppable. Life can throw storms your way, but storms cannot sink a ship whose captain refuses to abandon course. Millionaires understand this truth deeply. They are not lucky, they are resilient. And here's the final point. Resilience compounds. Each time you overcome a setback, your confidence grows. Each time you rise after falling, you become stronger. Over time, challenges that once seemed overwhelming become minor. Your capacity expands, your endurance deepens, and your results multiply. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary, through resilience, practiced daily, until it becomes who they are. So when setbacks come, and they will, don't run from them, face them, learn from them, adapt through them, persist beyond them. That's the millionaire response. And if you practice it long enough, you'll discover that the very obstacles that once threatened to stop you will become the foundation of your success. Chapter 6. The Power of Strategic Networking. One of the quietest but most powerful habits of millionaires is their ability to build and maintain strategic networks. While the average person thinks of networking as a shallow exchange of business cards or social media follows, millionaires see it as the deliberate construction of a support system, a web of mentors, peers, and allies that magnify their potential and open doors to opportunities that money alone cannot unlock. Here's the truth. No one achieves massive success alone. Behind every great entrepreneur, investor, or leader is a circle of people who contributed to their growth. Millionaires understand this instinctively. They know that wealth is not just built on financial capital, but also on social capital. The relationships they cultivate become assets as valuable as any stock portfolio. Strategic networking begins with clarity. Millionaires don't just try to connect with everyone. They are intentional about building relationships with people who align with their goals, values, and aspirations. They ask themselves, who has already achieved what I want? Who has access to the opportunities I seek? Who can challenge me to think bigger? This clarity prevents them from wasting time on empty interactions and instead directs their energy toward meaningful connections. Think of it this way. Ordinary people often focus on networking across, connecting with people who are at the same level as them. Millionaires, however, focus on networking up. They intentionally seek mentors, coaches, and peers who are further ahead. By doing so, they gain access to knowledge, resources, and insights that accelerate their progress. Consider how Warren Buffett himself was mentored by Benjamin Graham, the legendary investor who taught him the principles of value investing. Without that relationship, Buffett's journey might have been slower or entirely different. Millionaires are not shy about learning from those who are ahead of them. They see mentorship as a shortcut through years of trial and error. But strategic networking doesn't stop with mentors. Millionaires also build powerful peer groups. They understand the saying, "Your network is your net worth." Surrounding themselves with ambitious, driven individuals keeps them motivated and accountable. If you spend enough time with 5 people who are committed to excellence, wealth, and growth, it's almost inevitable that you will rise to their level. The environment shapes behavior, and millionaires carefully curate their environment. This habit also extends to building connections with gatekeepers, people who have influence, resources, or access to opportunities. For instance, real estate millionaires build strong relationships with bankers, contractors, and property managers. Tech entrepreneurs connect with venture capitalists and industry leaders. Millionaires know that the right relationship at the right time can create breakthroughs that years of solo effort cannot. Another key to their networking habit is value creation. Ordinary people approach networking with a mindset of "what can I get?" Millionaires flip it to "what can I give?" They understand that relationships thrive when built on generosity, not desperation. By offering knowledge, support, introductions, or resources, they establish themselves as valuable allies. This creates reciprocity. When you help others, others want to help you. Let's look at Richard Branson. Throughout his career, he has cultivated relationships by focusing on people, not just transactions. His charm, generosity, and willingness to listen have opened countless doors. He doesn't just network, he connects deeply, and those connections have powered the Virgin Empire. Strategic networking also requires courage. Millionaires are not afraid to approach people who intimidate them. They understand that rejection is a small price to pay compared to the potential upside of building a transformative relationship. Most people let fear stop them from reaching out to successful individuals, but millionaires press forward. They send the email, make the call, or introduce themselves at the event. Their courage creates opportunities that others miss. They also invest in the right environments. Millionaires attend conferences, masterminds, and events where high-level people gather. They join exclusive clubs or organizations that align with their goals. They don't leave networking to chance. They put themselves in rooms where opportunity lives. If success is a game, then access to the right rooms is part of the strategy. But here's the subtle secret. Networking is not about quantity, it's about depth. Millionaires don't try to know thousands of people superficially. They focus on building strong, lasting connections with a select group. They nurture these relationships consistently, checking in, offering help, and staying engaged. Over time, these deep connections lead to trust, and trust is the currency of opportunity. For example, think of Elon Musk. His ventures, PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, have all been powered by partnerships and investors he built relationships with over years. Many of these connections were not transactional but rooted in trust, shared vision, and mutual respect. Without those networks, his bold ideas might never have left the ground. To develop this millionaire habit in your own life, Start with clarity. Identify the types of people you need in your network. Next, position yourself in places where those people gather. Be courageous in reaching out, and above all focus on giving value before expecting anything in return. Then, nurture those relationships over time. Consistency transforms acquaintances into allies. Millionaires build wealth because they understand a truth that ordinary people overlook. Success flows through people. A single introduction can change the trajectory of your career. A single mentor can save you years of mistakes. A single partnership can unlock millions in revenue. And all of it is rooted in the deliberate, disciplined habit of strategic networking. So, if you want to build wealth, ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Who is in my circle of influence? Who are my mentors, peers, and allies? Your future net worth will be shaped by the strength of your network. Millionaires know this. That's why they treat networking not as an occasional task but as a daily habit, woven into everything they do. Chapter 7: Discipline and Focus, the silent engines of wealth. If there is one habit that silently powers every millionaire's journey, it is discipline. While outsiders often see wealth as the product of luck, opportunity, or brilliance, those who have actually achieved it know that discipline is the glue that holds success together. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies. Without focus, opportunities slip away. Millionaires understand that consistency, restraint, and intentional effort are the foundation upon which fortunes are built. Discipline starts with self-control, the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Ordinary people are slaves to their moods and impulses. They eat when they're stressed, spend when they're emotional, and procrastinate when tasks feel uncomfortable. Millionaires train themselves to act according to principle, not emotion. They don't wait for motivation. They act from commitment. Think of the habit of saving and investing. It requires discipline to consistently set aside money month after month instead of spending it all. It requires discipline to resist lifestyle inflation when income increases. Millionaires don't achieve financial freedom by chance. They achieve it because they built the daily discipline of managing money with precision. But discipline isn't only about money. It's about mastering time. Millionaires guard their time with the same seriousness that they guard their bank accounts. They know that wasted hours become wasted years, and wasted years cost fortunes. Their calendars reflect their priorities. They wake up early, plan their days, and execute with intention. Where ordinary people drift through time, millionaires direct it. Focus, the twin of discipline, ensures that their energy is not scattered. In today's world, distractions are endless: social media, notifications, entertainment, gossip. These are traps that consume attention but produce nothing. Millionaires have the discipline to say no to distraction and yes to the work that moves the needle. They cultivate focus like a muscle, training themselves to give deep, undivided attention to their goals. Consider Steve Jobs. Known for his obsession with simplicity and focus, he famously said, "Focusing is about saying no." Jobs didn't try to do everything. He concentrated Apple's efforts on a handful of products, executed them with excellence, and transformed entire industries. This is the power of focus. When energy is concentrated, results multiply. Another dimension of discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Millionaires know how to wait. They plant seeds today, even if the harvest is years away. They invest, build businesses, or develop skills with patience, knowing that compounding works slowly at first and explosively later. Ordinary people seek immediate rewards. Millionaires trade short-term pleasure for long-term gain. Think of the investor who puts $1,000 into the market every month for decades. At first, the growth is almost invisible. But with discipline, compounding transforms those contributions into millions. The wealth wasn't created by sudden luck. It was created by the discipline of waiting and staying consistent when others grew impatient. Discipline also governs habits of health and energy. Millionaires know that their bodies and minds are their greatest tools. They discipline themselves to exercise, eat well, and get proper rest. They understand that peak performance requires peak health. Ordinary people sacrifice their well-being for comfort. Millionaires sacrifice comfort for well-being because they know energy fuels productivity, and productivity fuels wealth. But discipline isn't about living like a machine. Millionaires don't suppress all joy or spontaneity. Instead, they master balance. They know when to indulge and when to restrain. They don't let impulses control them. They are the masters of their appetites, not the other way around. This mastery gives them freedom from debt, from addiction, from wasted time. True discipline doesn't imprison, it liberates. Focus also shapes vision. Millionaires direct their focus not just on daily tasks but on long-term goals. They avoid chasing every shiny opportunity. Instead, they choose a clear direction and pursue it relentlessly. This ability to stay focused over years, even decades, is why they succeed while others quit or get distracted. Consider the story of Colonel Sanders, who faced rejection after rejection before someone finally believed in his chicken recipe. His relentless focus on his vision, despite countless failures, eventually built the KFC empire. Discipline gave him endurance. Focus gave him direction. Together they created wealth. Developing discipline and focus in your own life begins with small commitments. Wake up at a set time and keep it. Set goals for the day and complete them. Create a budget and stick to it. Train yourself to finish what you start. Over time, these small acts of discipline compound into a lifestyle of mastery. Millionaires aren't born with superhuman willpower. They build it. Each disciplined action strengthens the muscle of self-control. Each act of focus sharpens the mind. Ordinary people surrender to impulses. Millionaires train themselves to rise above them. This difference, repeated thousands of times across years, is what creates extraordinary results. Remember this: success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. A burst of effort may feel powerful, but it is discipline sustained over time that creates wealth. The world is full of talented, intelligent, and ambitious people who never achieve their potential because they lack discipline. Meanwhile, disciplined individuals, even if less talented, rise steadily and eventually surpass them. Discipline is the silent engine of wealth. Focus is the steering wheel. Together they turn ordinary lives into extraordinary success stories. If you want to join the ranks of millionaires, don't just chase opportunities, build the discipline and focus to sustain them. For when distractions fade, when emotions fluctuate, when temptations call, it is discipline and focus that keep you moving toward your vision. And that is how ordinary people, step by step, day by day, habit by habit, become millionaires. Chapter 8. Vision and Long-Term Thinking. Seeing beyond the moment. Millionaires do not merely live for today, they build for tomorrow. One of the most transformative habits that sets them apart is their ability to cultivate vision and commit to long-term thinking. While ordinary people are trapped by the urgency of the present, bills, distractions, comfort, or fleeting pleasures, millionaires discipline their minds to focus on the future. They think in years, even decades, rather than hours or days. This single habit reshapes how they spend, how they work, and how they create wealth. Vision is not simply having goals. Anyone can write down a list of things they want. Vision is the ability to see clearly what does not yet exist, to hold an image of the future so powerfully that it directs decisions in the present. For millionaires, vision is like a compass. It guides every step, every sacrifice, every risk. Without vision, wealth building becomes random and inconsistent. With vision, it becomes inevitable. Consider Elon Musk. Long before electric cars became mainstream, his vision was to accelerate humanity's transition to sustainable energy. Long before reusable rockets were considered practical, he envisioned colonizing Mars. Whether you agree with his goals or not, His visionary thinking created companies that transformed industries. This is the power of seeing further than others. Opportunities appear where most people see impossibilities. But vision without long-term commitment is useless. Millionaires marry their vision with patience. They are willing to play the long game. Ordinary people want fast results, instant gratification, quick wins. Millionaires understand that lasting wealth is not a sprint, it is a marathon. They build slowly, strategically, and with endurance. Take the principle of compounding. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Why? Because it rewards those who think long-term. The difference between someone who invests consistently for 30 years versus 10 years is staggering, even if the amounts are the same. Millionaires harness compounding not just in money, but in skills, relationships, and businesses. They know that small, consistent actions applied over long horizons create exponential results. Vision also requires resilience against short-term noise. Markets crash, businesses stumble, and critics doubt. Ordinary people panic, withdraw, and give up. Millionaires stay focused on their horizon. They remind themselves that setbacks are temporary but vision is permanent. Their eyes remain fixed on the larger picture. This ability to hold on to vision in the face of turbulence is what keeps them advancing when others retreat. Another part of long-term thinking is legacy. Millionaires often think beyond their own lifetime. They ask, what impact will my work have in 20, 50, even 100 years? How will my wealth benefit future generations? This shift in perspective gives their decisions gravity. They do not just chase money. They build structures, companies, and systems that outlive them. Vision also fuels innovation. When you think long-term, you are not constrained by today's limitations. You begin to imagine possibilities others cannot see. Ordinary people ask, what can I do today with what I have? Millionaires ask, what could I create tomorrow if I start today? This subtle difference in thinking leads to revolutionary ideas, products, and opportunities. Practical application of this habit begins with clarity. You must define your vision. Not vague dreams, but a clear picture of what you want in 5, 10, or 20 years. Millionaires take time to write their vision, refine it, and revisit it often. Then they align their daily actions with that vision. Every investment, every project, every choice is filtered through the question, does this bring me closer to my vision? Long-term thinking also means rejecting distractions. Many people fail to build wealth because they constantly chase the next big thing. They start one project, abandon it for another, and repeat the cycle endlessly. Millionaires resist this temptation. They commit to a path and see it through. Their consistency compounds into mastery, while others scatter their efforts and remain mediocre. Another secret of long-term thinkers is that they value process over results. They know that success is not achieved in one giant leap, but in thousands of small, often invisible steps. They commit to the process even when results are slow. Ordinary people quit because they don't see quick payoffs. Millionaires continue because they trust the process will eventually deliver. Think of farmers. They plant seeds, water them, nurture them, and wait months before seeing any harvest. Millionaires approach wealth the same way. They sow seeds in investments, businesses, and personal growth, fully aware that the harvest may take years. Their patience is their competitive advantage. Finally, vision and long-term thinking create confidence. When you know where you're going, uncertainty loses its power over you. Millionaires don't need every day to be perfect because they are not judging success by the moment. They are judging it by the decade. This perspective keeps them calm in chaos and persistent in challenges. If you want to build wealth, start cultivating vision. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like in 10 years? What habits today will create that reality? Write it down, see it daily. Then commit to the long game. Refuse to let impatience or distraction steal your future. Millionaires think differently not because they have special abilities but because they have trained their minds to see further than most. You can do the same. When you hold a powerful vision, act with discipline and think long-term, the results will astonish you. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The impossible becomes achievable. This is how ordinary people, through the habit of vision and long-term thinking, transform into millionaires. Chapter 9. Execution and bold action. Turning ideas into wealth. Millionaires are not merely thinkers, they are doers. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, are worthless without execution. The world is filled with people who have dreams of success, grand visions of businesses, or plans for financial freedom. Yet, most of those dreams never leave the imagination. Why? Because fear, doubt, and procrastination keep them frozen in inaction. What separates millionaires from the ordinary is not that they have better ideas, it's that they act on them relentlessly, consistently, and boldly. Execution is the bridge between vision and reality. Many people spend their lives standing on one side of the bridge, talking about what they will do someday. Millionaires cross the bridge. They are willing to make imperfect moves, take risks, and learn by doing. They understand a profound truth: progress beats perfection. Waiting for everything to be perfect before taking action is a guaranteed path to stagnation. Millionaires move forward even when conditions aren't ideal. Consider Jeff Bezos. When he started Amazon, e-commerce was far from mainstream. There were countless risks, technology limitations, uncertain consumer behavior, and fierce competition. But Bezos acted. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He created the moment. His bias for action turned a small online bookstore into one of the most influential companies on earth. That is the power of bold execution. Ordinary people often confuse activity with execution. They stay busy, planning, researching, preparing, but never take the step that matters. Millionaires cut through noise and focus on high-impact actions. They prioritize moves that move the needle, even if they are uncomfortable. Execution is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with intensity and speed. Fear is the greatest enemy of execution. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of losing money. Millionaires feel fear just like everyone else, but they act anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite fear. Each bold action taken weakens fear's grip. The ordinary wait until they feel ready. Millionaires know readiness is a myth. They trust that clarity comes from action, not the other way around. Another crucial part of execution is decisiveness. Wealth builders make decisions quickly and adjust later if needed. Ordinary people overthink, stuck in analysis paralysis. Millionaires understand that opportunities rarely wait. The faster you decide, the faster you learn, adapt and grow. Indecision is a silent thief of wealth, and execution demands speed. Millionaires also treat failure differently. Where others see failure as the end, they see it as feedback. Every failed attempt contains data: what works, what doesn't, and what to improve. Execution is iterative. You act, fail, learn, refine, and act again. Over time, these cycles compound into mastery. Ordinary people avoid failure at all costs, and in doing so they avoid success. Millionaires embrace failure as tuition on the road to wealth. Bold action also means thinking big. Millionaires don't just take small steps, they take leaps that scare them. They expand comfort zones deliberately, starting a business, asking for a major deal, investing in new ventures. These are all bold moves. And each bold move, even if risky, creates momentum. Momentum is wealth's hidden fuel. Once you start moving decisively, doors open, people notice, and opportunities multiply. To cultivate execution in your own life, begin by shrinking the gap between idea and action. When you get a meaningful idea, act on it within 24 hours. Send the email, make the call, draft the plan, or take the first step. Train your brain to associate ideas with immediate execution. This habit rewires you into a doer rather than a dreamer. Another strategy is accountability. Millionaires often surround themselves with mentors, partners, or teams that demand results. Accountability forces execution. When others are watching, excuses shrink. Ordinary people hide their goals. Millionaires declare them and then act publicly to achieve them. Finally, execution requires persistence. Many people act once, face resistance, and quit. Millionaires act again, and again, and again. Their boldness is not in one-time action, but in sustained, relentless execution. They show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient. Over time, persistence compounds into breakthroughs. Execution transforms vision into wealth. Bold action multiplies opportunities. Together they form one of the most powerful habits of millionaires. If you want to cross from ordinary to extraordinary, stop waiting, stop planning endlessly, and start doing. Act with courage, make bold moves, and execute consistently. Wealth doesn't flow to those who think about it. It flows to those who act on it. This is how millionaires transform ideas into empires. They execute, and they execute boldly. Chapter 10. Resilience. The millionaire's superpower. Every person who has achieved extraordinary wealth has faced extraordinary obstacles. The journey to becoming a millionaire is not smooth. It is filled with setbacks, rejections, losses, and failures. What makes millionaires different is not that they avoid adversity, but that they refuse to be broken by it. Resilience. The ability to recover quickly, to adapt, and to keep moving forward is their hidden superpower. Without it, wealth cannot last. With it, no obstacle can permanently hold you back. Resilience is not simply enduring pain. It is transforming pain into fuel. Where ordinary people see hardship as a reason to quit, millionaires see it as a test, a training ground, and sometimes even a gift. They understand that challenges are not barriers to success but gateways to it. If you study the life of every self-made millionaire, you'll notice a recurring theme. They have all failed, often spectacularly, before reaching the heights of wealth. Take Walt Disney. Before creating one of the most powerful entertainment empires in the world, Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. His first animation studio went bankrupt. He faced financial collapse multiple times, but he refused to quit. Each failure was met with resilience, each setback with renewed determination. His vision for Disney was too strong to be killed by rejection or bankruptcy. That resilience turned him into a legend. Ordinary people, however, let adversity define them. A business failure becomes proof that they are not capable. A rejection convinces them never to try again. A financial loss crushes their spirit. Millionaires reframe these moments. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "What can I learn?" They don't run from failure. They mine it for lessons, refine their strategies, and rise stronger. Resilience also requires emotional mastery. Life will always deliver stress, disappointment, and negativity. Ordinary people are controlled by emotions. They spiral when things go wrong. Millionaires, by contrast, master their emotions. They don't deny feelings of fear, sadness, or frustration, but they don't let those emotions dictate their decisions. They practice control, focus, and perspective. In moments of crisis, they act from strategy, not panic. Another critical aspect of resilience is adaptability. The world is always changing. Markets shift, technologies disrupt, economies crash. Millionaires are resilient because they adapt quickly. They do not cling to what used to work. They evolve, pivot, and innovate. Resilience is not rigid persistence. It is flexible strength. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to shift direction without losing momentum. Ordinary people often treat resilience as a trait you're either born with or not. But resilience is a habit. It is built through deliberate choices. Each time you face difficulty, you have the choice to collapse or to rise. Millionaires train themselves to rise. Over time, this training becomes automatic. They become stronger with each challenge because they see adversity as an ally, not an enemy. Resilience also requires a long-term vision. Setbacks feel smaller when you know where you're headed. Millionaires maintain perspective. A bad investment, a failed product launch, or a rough year does not destroy them because they see it as one chapter in a much larger story. Ordinary people see setbacks as permanent endings. Millionaires see them as temporary plot twists. To build resilience in your own life, start by reframing failure. See it as feedback, not finality. Every mistake holds a lesson. Extract it and move forward. Second, develop daily mental toughness practices. This could be journaling, affirmations, meditation, or even physical training. The stronger your mind and body, the more resilient you become under stress. Third, surround yourself with resilient people. Millionaires often build networks of peers who inspire and support them through challenges. Resilience is contagious. When you see others rising, you rise too. Another practice is gratitude. It may sound simple, but gratitude is a powerful resilience tool. When faced with setbacks, ordinary people focus only on what they lost. Millionaires shift focus to what they still have: skills, health, opportunities, relationships. Gratitude creates perspective and prevents despair. It fuels resilience by reminding you that every ending can be the beginning of something greater. Resilience does not mean setbacks stop hurting. Millionaires feel pain, disappointment, and doubt just like anyone else. But they move through the pain, rather than letting it paralyze them. They know wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. And in that marathon, resilience is the endurance that keeps them running when others drop out. Resilience is the silent strength behind every fortune. It is what allows millionaires to rebuild after losses, to pivot after disruptions, and to rise higher after every fall. If you want to join their ranks, cultivate resilience as your core habit. Expect setbacks, embrace them, and let them shape you into someone unstoppable. Because here is the truth: wealth will test you. The question is, will you break, or will you bend and come back stronger? Millionaires choose the latter, and that choice makes all the difference. We've reached the end of this journey, but really this is where your journey begins. Over these chapters, we've uncovered the habits that turn ordinary people into millionaires: clarity of vision, discipline of thought, mastery of time, courage in risk-taking, the power of networking, resilience in adversity, and the relentless pursuit of growth. What should be clear to you by now is that wealth is not an accident. It is not about being born into privilege, winning the lottery, or stumbling into luck. Wealth is the result of choices, repeated daily, until they become habits. Habits that shape your thinking, habits that control your money, habits that guide your actions, and habits that transform your results. Millionaires don't just live differently because they have money. They have money because they live differently. They guard their time, they invest in themselves, they persist when others quit, and they surround themselves with people who elevate their standards. Every habit works like a gear in a powerful machine, compounding over time until the results are undeniable. Now, here's the part where you must make a decision. Listening to this audiobook has given you knowledge, but knowledge without application is wasted. If you want change, you must act. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. You need to start with one habit, one shift, one decision that aligns with the mindset and behaviors of millionaires. Then repeat it until it sticks. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's tracking your spending. Maybe it's finally launching that side hustle you've been putting off. Whatever it is, let it be the first brick in building your millionaire foundation, because small habits, done daily, create massive results. And here is my promise to you: if you stay consistent, if you keep upgrading your habits, if you refuse to quit when it gets hard, you will transform. It may not happen in 30 days or even a year, but wealth is inevitable for the person who refuses to surrender and commits to living by the habits of success. So as this book closes, your story opens. The future is yours to write. Ordinary or extraordinary, broke or wealthy, defeated or victorious, it all comes down to your habits. Choose wisely, live intentionally, and commit fully. And if this audiobook has inspired you, don't let it be the end. Subscribe to Imperium Audiobooks, where you'll find more powerful lessons, strategies, and mind shifts designed to keep you moving forward on your path to wealth and success. Stay tuned, because your transformation is only just beginning. Remember, focus on the habits, and the results will follow. You have everything it takes to join the ranks of those who went from ordinary to millionaire. The only question is, will you?